Kalvin Phillips to Newcastle deal looks like it's off. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by names of Roque and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, we're also discussing the other possible options for him to obviously move to in this January transfer window as he does his stuff. And we're also going to talk about Andre Santos, set to return to Chelsea this week, as his loan has been really cut short at Nottingham Forest. Then lastly, there is Xavi talking about the competition between Victor Roque, the 18-year-old Brazilian. They're just going to head to join Barcelona, whom they signed during the summer transfer window. Welcome to this channel once again, and continue to obviously subscribe to this channel. And let's close to 100 likes making this video, and let's obviously start it off. We thank God for the gift of life. The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum, and everything should go on as planned for this year. Now, Kalvin Phillips, a loan fee for Kalvin Phillips would be north of £5 million this month, and Man City ideally want to build in an obligation to buy in the summer at a fee close to £40 million. So this has gone ahead to obviously cause a lot of havoc in between Manchester City and Newcastle about the possibility of really having this guy around. So this guy, Kalvin Phillips, is really one of those that have gone ahead to obviously suffer at Manchester City, having gone ahead to obviously cross to the City side from Leeds, and he was really expected to be one of the pivotal players to play into that midfield of Manchester City, and he was never successful in that double pivot role. And Man City are really trying to move him on, as they're having Kovacic and Matthias Nunes in, who can obviously do this big job. So when you look at Manchester City, they've gone ahead to accept that maybe this deal never really went ahead to work on well. And let's all agree, good players can come in through and really flop. And this is why I tell my fellow United fans that I cannot blame a manager for having only one or two players out of that 10 he's gonna hate to sign that have gonna hate to flop, because players flop, and that doesn't mean that it's because of their quality. Sometimes it's because of the managers, you know, and their tactics. Sometimes it's because of the players themselves feeling that it's not really worth it, and they've not gonna hate to be given a chance to obviously come through and really play their part into the beautiful game of football at that certain club. So Kalvin Phillips has gone ahead to face a lot, and the manager came out and really referred to him as one of those players that is fat. So I don't know whether that was really something called for, but the player says he's always fit and he wants to go on and really play and continue to play into that game of football to prepare for the Euros. Remember, England are going to the Euros, and this guy's gonna hate to obviously get urged by his national team manager that if at all he wants to see everything go on as planned, he should really find a club that is going to give him ample playing time. And that club looks like it's going to have to be Newcastle, because for Newcastle, they're really having a big void. Sorry about that, because Newcastle look like they're really having a big void as far as everything is concerned, and they're here to obviously gate and recruiting players. One will say that they might go in Saudi Arabia and really recruit players, but that's one of the things that I really doubt that they're going to do, because even their clubs that would have gone ahead to obviously get players from Saudi Arabia also need players. So they're looking at Kalvin Phillips as one of those players that should come in through at the side of Newcastle, but it's not going to work out that way, because Newcastle believe that they shouldn't be paying that fee for Kalvin Phillips. And then TalkSport has also gone ahead and really told us the following, that Kalvin Phillips' potential move to Newcastle is in doubt due to Manchester City's demands of £5 million loan fee and obligation to buy. So the obligation to buy is really one of those that Newcastle don't need. If at all you tell me that Newcastle is out of this deal because of the £5 million loan fee, that is out, because they know they're supposed to pay a loan fee, but the obligation to buy is really the huge problem, because Manchester City don't want to obviously gate Kalvin Phillips into their squad again, and they don't want to see him really be at that team again, as they're not 100% sure that if at all he goes to Newcastle and really plays for the next 6 months of the season, he's gonna hit the ground running and maybe demand for that amount of money. So what they are doing is they want to tell Newcastle that we give you that player and you sign him on a permanent. So that is really the big hinge into this deal of Kalvin Phillips to the side of Newcastle. So we've also been told by Mark Douglas, he's a northern football correspondent for the iPaper Sport, confirmed us that Juventus and PSG are attractive potential January move for Kalvin Phillips, while in the Premier League, Fulham and Crystal Palace are believed to be monitoring his situation. And if I'm Kalvin Phillips, one thing I can do, I have to go to Juventus. That is it. Juventus can be a very huge destination for this guy. And trust me, if you really believe that you want to resurrect your career, I think it's better he got out of the Premier League. That is it, because Fulham and Crystal Palace, that is really a very huge downgrade. It's too below the belt for him to play there, because he has gonna hit obviously level up to the levels expect him to be. So Juventus is really one of those teams that can give him a lot of playing time, and he can obviously be bought. And if at all Juventus accepts that deal with the with the mandatory clause to buy, I think this guy will move that side. I don't want to see him go to Crystal Palace. Newcastle is a good destination, but we all know why it's really very hard for him to obviously thrive there, because of the mandatory clause to buy him at £40 million. And Man City went ahead to buy him like £50 million, I think 55. So they want to make they want to make a loss of £15 million. So let's wait and see how that pans out. But Kalvin Phillips is one of those players that is really looking forward to leaving Manchester City, and is going to be one of those big players that every team is going to look at. Then Xavi has gone ahead and been commented about the competition. So about that, the competition in between Victor Roque and Lewandowski. He has said, Victor competing with Levy, that is Lewandowski. He said he will compete with Felix, Ferran, Rafinha, and Lamina. Everyone should work hard. Lewandowski and Roque can play together. Victor can play on the side and at number 9. I'm not ruling out anything. So he's like confirming to us that this player is really having what we call a versatility of the highest level, that he can play in literally three positions of the forward of the Barcelona side. And he has ruled out of him competing with Lewandowski, because Lewandowski is a proven striker, and if at all he's there, you have to obviously start him because of what he's going to hate to do and what he's still doing for the club of Barcelona. In his first season at Barcelona, he has going to hate to win them the La Liga, and they've going to hate to bring in another youthful guy that is really great. And I really love Victor Roque, and I know a lot is coming in between him and the very many players in there for you. Looks like he's already happy there, and he wants to obviously proceed and do the needful. But all what I want to say is that he shouldn't be competing with Lewandowski. He should be learning from Lewandowski, because Lewandowski is quite a guy who really puts in a lot of effort, left, right, and center, every time he's being called upon to really put up that effort. That is Lewandowski and Victor Roque for you, and we anticipated that these two are really gonna play together. Looks like Victor Roque is coming in through to go straight in the starting 11 of Barcelona, and I think Xavi wants him to do that immediately. So we wait and see how this youngster, 18 years of age, Brazilian international, goes to the books of Barcelona for really having his debut. I think tomorrow they are playing Las Palmas, and we all know that he's gonna really make his debut onto that day. Then lastly, Niza Kinsella, correspondent of Chelsea at the Standard Sports, he has confirmed to us that Andre Santos is set to return to Chelsea this week following his loan spell at Nottingham Forest. With the club, he will now carefully consider his steps, all his next steps. Now, Chelsea loaned this guy to Nottingham Forest, expecting a lot of playing time, and it wasn't the case. It was totally a different affair than what they expected at first. Chelsea has gone ahead to obviously put in a lot of effort to see to it that they obviously get their players good loans. But I think I've seen 2 loans work out for Chelsea. Colwill, Brighton, Conor Gallagher, Crystal Palace. And I doubt why they never went ahead to obviously work with those clubs, because those clubs would have gone ahead to be openly to get in this player. And I think this guy, Andre Santos, if at all Chelsea talked to Brighton very well, they would have gone ahead to obviously get that player there and would have gone ahead to play, because I know this guy, Xavi, was really looking for a very good player, and this guy is really good in that midfield. Having lost McAllister and Caicedo, this guy would have gone ahead to come through as some good player. But I think Brighton are really worried about one thing, that when they wanted to buy Colwill, they never really had a chance, and they were not given a chance. So maybe they're not willing to work with Chelsea again in as far as loan deals are really concerned. So guys, your thoughts on Kalvin Phillips to Newcastle? In doubt, are welcome in the comment section below. Which club would you want him to go to? Juventus, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Fulham, or PSG? And tell me exactly what your thoughts are about Victor Roque and Lewandowski competition. Then Andre Santos returning to Chelsea. We sign out for now. See you later. May the living to God bless you abundantly. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikum. Roque and David remains my name.